views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hey everyone, I'm the Dr. Bagley, and welcome to Open BxRx, our special coverage of COVID-19 and current events in our community and beyond. We've got it going on for you. Coming up on today's show, we'll hook you up just the way you like it, all right? We'll take a look at a community health program in the Bronx from a group working to create a healthier borough. Plus, we'll hear from one urgent care doctor about telehealth and what he believes you need to know about COVID-19 and seeking treatment for other medical issues right now. Then we'll be joined by a gun owner who will share his take on eliminating gun violence. Then Bobby C has the latest in the world of sports. And then later on, we'll go on one-on-one with an executive producer and hear about her career and how the pandemic has impacted her work. Stay tuned. All this and more is headed your way because we are now open. Welcome back. I'm the Doc Bob Lee, and our first guest is the founder and executive director of Health People. They join us today to discuss their community approach. It's a wonderful community approach to health. We welcome Chris Norwood to the show. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Bob.
Tell us about some of the wonderful things that you're doing.
Well, I think one of the most important, we do two things. The first is the way we do things, and we entirely train people from the community to deliver really evidence-based, effective health, self-care, and preventive education. I think the most important thing we've done with that is that we were engaged in an extraordinary fight against chronic disease, which we can see now how important that was. We had, with our peer educators, most of whom have diabetes themselves, they had managed to do the most community-based self-care education anyone ever had. They had put almost 2,000 people with Medicaid in a very effective 6-session course. And I do like, unfortunately, that was completely defunded, which also shows you, right while we're learning what these chronic diseases do. And that does kind of underscore that there's a, tremendous battle to bring real health to the Bronx and other communities.
Yeah. Now, you were working with the city and state trying to get them to take some steps to reduce chronic disease, especially diabetes?
Yes. We work with the city council to pass a law that the New York City Department of Health has to have a diabetes control plan for the city. It's actually the most widespread epidemic, more widespread than COVID, and they had no plan. So that's ridiculous. The city council had to pass a law to tell the health department to make a plan, which that's probably on delay now. We tried and tried and tried with the state, especially to look at ways to bring down amputation. The state amputation, diabetes-related amputation rate has gone up 60% since 2009. In fact, it's gone up so much for the last 3 years, they won't even put out the numbers, but it's
so you're saying that COVID-19 would have been more controlled had the city stepped in to head off diabetes?
With diabetes, also other chronic disease, hypertension. We didn't happen to be doing hypertension projects, but some people were, especially the public hospital system, they had a fabulous program they were doing with chronic disease nurses that really brought down out of control hypertension. All this was defunded just as COVID came in.
Yeah, so had they had a plan and it was funded, it would have been
absolutely.
Patients would have probably fared better.
They would have fared better.
Degenerative disease.
And one thing that's very important about the evaluation of what we've done. We did a couple of projects specifically in homeless shelters, which, as you know, the Bronx has more than its share of, and there's tremendous ill health in homeless shelters. And we brought down doing the diabetes self-management and also getting people and other services, making sure they were going to the doctor. We brought down the emergency room visits by 45% in 6 months. And I tell my peers, whatever else happens, you save people's lives by doing that, because they were not as much at the emergency rooms and hospitals just before this epidemic hit.
Yeah. So how has your work changed?
Well, it's like everyone else, everything's changed.
Yeah.
And, you know,
from your point of view and from your organization.
It's a little bit hard because we like to interact with people, you know, and encourage them and support them. But we're learning how to do that like everyone else on Zoom or other platforms, and letting people know we're back doing this another way, and enrolling them. And we're finding that people really want this kind of support and education. We also do a lot of HIV education and support.
Yeah.
That, you know, they, even if they're not used to using telehealth or whatever we call it, you know, they will try and do it a new way too.
So, but you're using telehealth right now. People can call.
I guess we call it telehealth, or we call it Zoom health. I don't know.
Zoom health. This is the new way.
I should copyright that and sell it to them, you know.
So, a person, how would they would contact you, and then somebody would get on the line with them and talk about their health and some of the things that are bothering them?
We can't do it quite like that now because it's a little, I don't know. We put out that we're going to make a group, and we have them join the group, and then we set up the group, and we find out what of the people who want to sign up for that particular education course, what access they have. You know, some people don't have computers, or they don't have internet access. There's not a lot of internet access, say, in homeless shelters. So we figure out, you know, some other way, and we'll let you know as we go along when we can do that more spontaneously and just respond to people like that.
It's still new. It's all new. It's a new normal, right?
Well, so, I want to say what I hope the new normal will be is really paying attention to health in ways that work. I hope that will be the new normal, because we can't keep doing this. It's not even with COVID, it's worse. But we can't keep having this kind of unavoidable mass chronic disease. Yeah.
So what message would you send to people that want to get involved in your organization?
Well, you can go on our website, healthpeople.org, and you can send us a message through the website. And just as we go along, look at ways to advocate for you know, real evidence-based health education. If you're going to you know, a clinic or hospital and you have a chronic condition, some do, but many don't, they should start offering you a course on how to take care of yourself. Some of this is very complex, but, you know, people can learn it rapidly.
Yeah, I think we have to get more into ourselves now than ever before, and pay more attention to our health. And we can go to your website to find out how to get more involved in your organization, right?
Yes.
That website again is?
Healthpeople, one word, .org.
Thank you so much. Chris Norwood, founder and executive director, Health People. Thank you so much for your service, and thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you, Bob. It's wonderful to talk to you. It's like therapy for me. I'm not serious.
Well, thank you so much. Stay safe. Stay blessed.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. We'll take a break. We've got more coming up next on Open. Welcome back. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee, and our next guest is the medical director of AFC Urgent Care in Throgs Neck. And he joins us to discuss their services and current health and safety information and measures. We welcome the Dr. Michael Tugetman to the show. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hello. How are you
Tell
doing?
us about the great things that you guys are doing out there in Throgs Neck.
Well, all the AFCs in the Bronx, including Throgs Neck, including Kingsbridge on Broadway between 231st and 230th, Webster Avenue at between 167th and 168th, and 149th Street between Cortlandt and Morris have all been open during the entire pandemic. We've been seeing patients in person. We have included telemedicine services also to treat patients that aren't able to come to our AFC centers. You can go to Google, type in AFC Throgs Neck, and you click the first link, and you hit telemed, and that'll take you to directions how to maneuver through the whole telemed thing. Or you can call the numbers, any one of the clinic numbers.
Yeah, the telemed thing is fairly new because of COVID-19, right?
Correct. I don't know how absolutely new it is. People have been doing telemed. It seems to be that's going to be the wave of the future. But our clinic has been using it since the COVID and the necessity to allow people to be seen without actually having to come into the clinic.
Well, how does that work? I didn't use it yet, but my doctor said, hey, we have this available. A person gives you a call, and then how do you do the whole process? Well,
a lot of the things can't be done. So if they're calling for abdominal pain or they're calling for chest pain, we're usually going to recommend that either they come in right away or they go to the emergency room. But things like a sore throat, things like some ear pain, sometimes they can even show us over the video. They can show us an eye, and we can see that it's an obvious.
So they have to get real close, and
they got to get real close, eye to eye.
And then you can look down somebody's throat like that, also.
Well, we usually don't, but there are some things that we can get them going with an antibiotic, and then tell them if there's no improvement in a certain amount of time to come in.
Yeah, so you can write scripts and everything over to tele.
Yeah, we send them right through the cyberspace. We send them to the computer.
There you go. Okay. What other services do you provide, Don?
Well, we are doing COVID testing. We are doing the nasal swab for the virus, and we are doing the blood test for the antibodies. I would say right now, somewhere in the area, 50% of our patients are coming in for COVID testing. We do keep them separate. We keep them in a separate area just to protect other patients that may just be coming in for a sprained ankle or whatever. But now that we're getting into phase 4, we are actually able to provide a lot of our typical services. And these include, if you'll allow me, cold, sore throat, sinus infections, ear infections, allergies, pneumonia, bronchitis, allergic reactions, headaches, back pain, abdominal pain, urinary tract infections, women's health issues, and testing and treatment for sexually transmitted infections. Yeah. We also have a fully equipped X-ray service for sprains, contusions, fractures. We have a procedure room. We're looking at abscesses, burns, foreign body removal, lacerations. We do give vaccinations. We do immigration physicals. I am a proud civil surgeon, and we provide that services. We do school physicals, camp physicals. I know there's no school and camp right now, but those are.
It's still a good time to get the physical for school, just in case they say, okay, they have everything in order, and it's time to go back to school.
Right, and we do occupational medicine, we do employee work physicals, drug screens, Department of Transportation medical exams, workers' compensation injuries, respiratory fit tests, and we also do motor vehicle injuries. And I think I've exhausted it, but there may be some other things. But those are basically the services that we offer.
You said a lot, Doc. What safety measures will people need to follow when they come in? Of course, I went to a dentist and they hit me with the meter, got my temperature, and they maybe wash my hands again and put on gloves.
Right. Well, we're checking their temperature when they come to the clinic. We're also making sure that they have a mask, that they keep social distance. We allow only a certain amount of people in the waiting room, and it has to go according to social distancing. And the rest of the people have to, unfortunately, wait outside. But as we make room in the waiting room, we have them come in. That hasn't been too much of a problem. Basically, it's very important to follow science and our faith. Our governor, our mayor, they've been asking for us to continue to do what we have succeeded. New York has been excellent as far as following protocol established by the politicians. And the Bronx specifically, which is a very hard-hit area, has really done a great job protecting itself. So you really have to just, we have to care about ourselves, but especially our loved ones, our friends, our neighbors. Here in the Bronx, where I've lived all my life, with no exception, we reach out to each other, and we're doing that now more than ever.
Doctor, should people go back to school at this time? I mean, the teachers in Florida are suing because there's a whole lot going on, and they don't want the children to be harmed. They don't want to be harmed themselves, and they don't want to start a whole nother community of infection going on. So they're suing to keep them from going to school until they get everything in order.
Yeah, I mean, there's two sides of that. Part of me says, listen to our governor, listen to our mayor, listen to our local politicians, because they're using science, but that sees that what we have gained by so closely following the science and doing well and wearing the mask, what we have gained from that, we can lose that quickly if we make a mistake with the schooling. So it's a very hard issue. I tend to think conservatively, and I tend to say stay at home, wear the mask, be vigilant. But the country wants to wake up again. The country wants to have an economy, and I think the politicians are pressured by what COVID is doing to that economy to get people back on board so quickly. But I think we have to be very, very careful. I'm very conservative. My feeling is, if you don't have to do these things, if it's not an absolutely imperative, then continue with the safekeeping.
Yeah, I think personally, that they shouldn't open up anything until they get everything safe for everybody.
And I would tend to.
But people need to go back to work. So,
yeah.
but everything has to be safe. So it's like, what do you do first? Save a life.
Save a life.
Keep everybody safe. Do what you're doing, saving lives. Doctor, thank you so much for joining us. I know a lot of people are coming in there. A lot of the symptoms, the things that you mentioned at first were symptoms of COVID-19, like the sore throat, the runny nose. That could be some of the
Sure.
digestive troubles, the lungs.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. So when they come to you with those problems, if a person needs a test, do they have to have symptoms to get the test?
They don't have to have symptoms. I mean, most the labs, the protocol is that patients to have the test for the virus, for the actual virus, the nasal swab, or they have to have symptoms. But the truth is, many of these patients are being sent by nursing homes where they work to see if they have the virus. They're being sent by where they work in hospitals. They're being sent by their employers. Other countries want to know as when they visit them. We have a lot of Bronxites here who want to go to Puerto Rico and they want to go to Dominican Republic, and they have to know what's going on. So at this point, for me to say, no, you can't have a test for the virus unless you're symptomatic would be very difficult for a lot of these patients.
And finally, share, if you can, your overall health advice for people in our community.
My overall health advice is to continue doing what they've been doing. The Bronx has really been a stellar example. It's probably the sickest borough in general, not necessarily with COVID, but for a borough that is would seem to have difficulty with doing everything that they've been doing an excellent job. And I bless the people of the Bronx, and I hope that we can continue to be an example for the rest of New York City. And I hope that New York City can be that shining example of how to beat the beast, to beat COVID, because now many other places that have opened up, that have not exercised restraint, are starting to become reinfected again and starting to see second waves.
Doctor, where can we get more information on what you're doing?
Yeah, the AFC websites, AFCurgentcare.com, and basically we're here for the community.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your service, and we thank you for all that you do.
Well, as we say in the Bronx, el gusto es mío.
There you go. Michael A. Tugetman, MD, the doctor's in the house, Medical Director, AFC Urgent Care, Throgs Neck. Thank you. We appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right, we'll take a break. We've got more on Open next. Welcome back. I'm Bob Lee, and our next guest is founder of Stop Handgun Violence. He joins us today to discuss gun violence. We welcome John Rosenthal to the show. Welcome. How are you?
Thank you, sir. I'm well. I'm truly among the lucky ones at a time where so many are not. I appreciate it every minute.
So you've been doing this organization for some time now. When did you start it?
So I am a business person and a gun owner based in Boston, Massachusetts. I co-founded Stop Handgun Violence with the late Michael Kennedy, one of Robert F. Kennedy's sons, back in 1995, in order to try and have Massachusetts, urban Massachusetts, become a model for gun violence prevention across the country. Yeah. And I'm very proud to say that since 1995, we've reduced the rate of gun deaths by over 40%. We're an urban state that now has the most comprehensive gun laws and the lowest gun death rate in the nation, except for Rhode Island, which we have basically the same firearm fatality rate.
Yeah. John, I mean, you have the most comprehensive gun laws of the nation. Why aren't other nations following you? Why aren't other states following you? By the way,
I know primarily because of the polarized debate that's raged for years, that's been fueled by the far sort of right extremism that would say that that gun laws don't work, that gun laws are a violation of the Second Amendment, that it's just mentally ill criminals, were causing the gun violence, and no laws would ever help that.
Yeah.
And we disproved all of that. Again, I'm a business person and a gun owner. I support gun rights, but I do not support gun rights like most responsible gun owners for people who are prohibited, who are felons, and who can't pass a background check.
Yeah.
I mean, in 32 states, there is no criminal background check requirement to buy 1 or 1,000 guns a day. So how do you even know if somebody's prohibited unless you have a background check? So we start with background check. Then we became the first state in the nation to have consumer protection standards for inherently dangerous products, firearms. Toy guns and teddy bears are regulated by the National Consumer Product Safety Commission in this country, along with every other consumer product, except the real firearm that will result in 100 deaths today, 40,000 deaths a year. More gun deaths in the United States since 1975 than all U.S. servicemen and women killed in all foreign wars combined, and there's no criminal background check or consumer protection standards, on the gun industry. So, first state in the nation to promulgate regulations for the gun industry, background checks for all gun sales. We ban military-style assault weapons and large-capacity ammunition magazines made for war, made so you do not need to reload of more than 10 rounds.
And
Remember,
they also eliminated the bump
are,
stock, right?
That's right. And remember, police are here to protect us. And the majority of police do their job of serving and protecting. They're given 13 to 17 rounds in their service weapons. Congress says it's perfectly fine for anyone to have a 100-round magazine to overpower police. And by the way, I am a gun owner. I have hunted. When you get a hunting license, and the NRA has no problem with hunting licenses for anyone that hunts, when you get a hunting license for deer, you're limited to 5 rounds. For duck, you're limited to 3 rounds to protect the duck and deer population.
Yeah, that's 5 rounds shotgun slug.
No
shotgun
limit.
slug for deer. Yeah.
Correct. No limit on the number of rounds to hunt humans. And these military-style assault weapons and large-capacity ammunition magazines are the common denominator in the daily mass shootings of 4 or more people. And there is a mass shooting of 4 or more people every single day of the year now.
What do we do about gun violence on our streets? How can we conquer that?
Well, we have to, first of all, make it easier to get a job and harder to get a gun, which is the opposite in a lot of our urban neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Most folks who are carrying guns are carrying them for self-protection because other people are carrying guns. We have more gun violence in this country than the 26 industrialized nations combined, because no background check requirement, no consumer protection standards, no limit on the number of military-style assault weapons you can buy. We are unique in the world, and we are paying the consequences. We have gun violence by design, created by the far right in this country, who happens to own the Republican Party, and they've intimidated the Democratic Party into submission. So we have unrestricted access to guns, including by folks who are seriously mentally ill and shouldn't have a gun. So that's where, and of course, for folks that are prohibited, but if there's no background check, you don't know they're prohibited. So we have gun violence by design in order to increase gun violence, increase fear, and increase gun sales. The NRA loves a good mass shooting, especially one that is high profile, because after every single mass shooting, what happens? Gun sales go up. That's the game. And Trump loves everything there is about fear. That's what motivates him. So he's in bed with the NRA. He has actually tried to deregulate silencers. Silencers are an attachment that goes onto a weapon that makes it easier to shoot and kill without detection, Trump's family is heavily invested in the silencer industry. Silencers have been banned in this country since the 30s, and they are now trying to deregulate silencers to make it easier to kill, more fear, and more gun sales.
So what do we do?
What we do is we need to change Congress if they're not going to change gun laws. We changed the Congress in the midterms, and what happened? The democratically controlled Congress immediately passed a universal background check bill for all gun sales. We need to renew the ban on military-style assault weapons that was in effect for over 10 years in this country. We need to regulate guns like any other consumer product. And when we do, which is basically what we've done here in Massachusetts, you will see a dramatic reduction in injuries and deaths from guns without banning most guns. And frankly, the straightest line to do that, and I am an independent, and I am a business person, and I am a gun owner, but in November, you have to vote for Joe Biden because Trump is just going to be more of the same.
How do you keep the guns from coming into neighborhoods? I mean, where's it coming from, do you think?
So every single state that has tougher gun laws, like Massachusetts, has a lower gun death rate. Every single state. You match up the states with the lowest gun death rates, and you will see they all have gun laws that are stronger than all the states with the highest gun death rates. In Massachusetts, we're an urban state, lowest gun death rate in the nation. We border Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, and the rest of the states that have no background check requirements. 70% of all guns traced to crime in Massachusetts come from those states without background checks. So you need universal background checks that need to be enacted by Congress, signed by the president, to make it harder, not easier, harder for prohibited people from getting guns. That's number one. And the next thing you do is you renew the ban on assault weapons, because during that 10-year period, when the assault weapon ban was enacted between 94 and 2004, we saw a 66% reduction in those weapons showing up in crime. Then you make it harder for people who shouldn't have guns to get them. And if you ban military-style assault weapons and you require licensing and registration for guns, like we do for cars, like we've proven to work in Massachusetts, it's no inconvenience to law-abiding gun owners, but it just makes it harder for prohibited people from getting guns. And you need to do it in every state, because believe me, and at every gun show, there are 5,000 gun shows in this country. They're weekend shows, no background check requirement. So you just need universal background checks across the country. You don't need to ban anything except for assault weapons and cheap Saturday night special handguns that are easily concealable without any safety features, and regulate guns, the manufacturer of guns, like we regulate just toy guns, and institute a licensing and registration regime, that renewable licensing like we have for cars, and will then join the rest of the world and having sane gun policy without any inconvenience to law-abiding gun owners.
John, what are you working on next that's coming up that we should know about?
Frankly, I'm helping with policy to any member of Congress or state legislatures or city councils that are looking at how do you reduce injuries and deaths. Remember, we're an urban state; we've proven it, and we're also putting up a Billboard campaign, working closely with Manuel Oliver and Patricia, who lost their son Joaquin, 17-year-old son, at Parkland mass shooting, putting up billboards around the country that are basically showing Joaquin's picture and saying, quote, "I was murdered. I can't vote.
Yeah, wow.
Vote for me in November. Gun laws save lives." And frankly, we can get our country back. We can get our neighborhoods back. We can begin to prioritize public health and public safety without banning guns. But we have to make it harder for people to get guns that shouldn't have them.
John, is this all on your website?
Yes, stophandgunviolence.org is our website.
John Rosenthal, co-founder of Stop Handgun Violence. We thank you. We'll take a break. I've got more coming up next right here on Open.
Hello, Jack Armstrong, TSN, Toronto Raptors analyst with us today. Jack, I guess the best place to always start when it comes to you is your catchphrase.
Hello, how you doing, Bobby?
I'm doing great. I wanted to touch base with you and see if you were ready to get back to work with the NBA season.
No, I am. I'm excited about it, and I think the NBA, to their credit, is very detail oriented, and I feel confident that they have as good a plan as you can put together. I mean, nothing's perfect, and I'm sure there'll be challenges and things that they have to work through. But I feel confident in the leadership of Adam Silver that he's thought through all these things, and they have, a plan in place and protocols in place to try to ensure that everyone there in Orlando is safe.
Now, Jack, what a difference a year makes for you and the Toronto Raptors. I got to tell you, your thoughts on the NBA bubble in Orlando and just the excitement to get back to work and do some games while also trying to navigate around this global pandemic.
Well, Bobby, first of all, the Raptors are still defending champs, so that's good. So I can enjoy wearing my ring, and hopefully maybe another time. We'll see how it goes. But to me, I think that from our perspective, from a broadcast, all 22 teams that are in the bubble, none of the local broadcasters will be doing the games from there. We'll all be doing them remotely. I've done a number of games in my career remotely before. So I'm comfortable with that. I've never done games where you're doing it remotely and there's no fans in the stands. That'll be different. So, you really got to bring your mojo and enthusiasm to each game. And I'm excited about that on both a television perspective and a radio perspective. And it should be fun. During this pandemic, you look at the, Major League Baseball and the NBA and the NHL. PGA golf, a little bit of tennis, MLS soccer. I think people do need a diversion. And as long as it's done safely and with the best interests of the players and the staffs that are involved there, then I'm totally fine with it. And because we need people to have some degree of an outlet to take their minds off of things. And I also think it's a wonderful platform with this time of social unrest for our players and our league to really get the message out there that it's time for an even greater emphasis and change in terms of the challenges that face our society today. And I feel confident in the NBA, and I'm proud to be part of the NBA because I think our league is probably the most progressive of all the major leagues.
So what's it like in the NBA bubble? I mean, obviously a new normal now because you've got so many changes with protocols. And do you really think it's going to be able to work?
Well, I'm confident, and I think, Bobby, I think the thing that really jumps out at me is it's going to come down to professionalism and buy-in. That each one of those players has to be professional and completely buy into it. The challenge I see is when you have these 8 regular season games and now suddenly you're one of those 6 teams or 4 teams right off the bat and another 2 that eventually are going to go home. As you see the reality playing out, do you stay committed? Do you stay bought into what they're doing there? And at the same time, when you get into the playoffs and you have a series that maybe goes 3-0 or 3-1, and the same thing, is someone going to pull the chute and do something silly? I think the teams that have a chance to really win, the players, the coaches, the staffs, everyone involved, I feel very confident they understand the magnitude of this. I just worry about occasionally it may be a player or two that is on a team that isn't going far or is going to get eliminated of doing something silly. Are we going to get through this 100%? Probably not. Will there be some tests that test positive? Yeah. I just want to make sure that people don't overreact, because you have a lot of talking heads out there that immediately when something like that happens are going to start screaming and yelling. And in my opinion, let's be confident in the protocol that's in place and allow them to do their job.
Jack, who presents the biggest challenge to the Raptors in the East? I'm assuming since you're a Brooklyn, New York guy, you might say the Nets. No, I don't know. Maybe.
Well, you know what? They called me about a 10-day contract. They're so banged up right now. So, no, just kidding. I would say, obviously, the Milwaukee Bucks, they steamrolled last year through the regular season. They steamrolled again this year through the regular season. They're a magnificent team. The Raptors did a wonderful job coming back from 0-2 to win against the Bucks the last time around. So that I think is the biggest challenge, is dealing with them. They're terrific. You know, the Raptors, the Lakers, and the Bucks are the top three teams in the NBA record-wise, and the Raptors are the second seed in the East right now. I think in the East as well, you have the Celtics. They have tremendous scoring, a great coach in Brad Stevens. I think Miami, don't sleep on them because they defend. They got a great coach, and they got a ton of perimeter shooting, and Jimmy Butler is a magnificent player. And Philadelphia, they have two Hall of Fame talents in Embiid and Simmons. Now, some of their chemistry is an issue, but they're a nightmare matchup for anybody. But I think the East will be tremendous. And I think out West, by far, the two LA teams are the teams to beat.
I was just going to ask you, actually, if you thought Toronto had a shot at maybe seeing Kawhi Leonard in the finals.
I do. I think the Raptors, when you look at them, here's something interesting, Bobby. You look at Philadelphia. They have a great home record and a terrible road record. So what's it going to look like on a neutral court? Are they better there? Are they worse there? I have no idea. But I look at the Raptors. They have the identical record on the road as they do at home. I don't know who said it was Socrates or Plato. Some real smart guy said excellence is a habit, not an act. I don't think the Raptors are actors. They got habits. So in a neutral court environment, or if you put them up on Mars, I feel pretty confident that their game travels. They defend. They got tremendous chemistry. They got outstanding coaching. They have tons of championship experience and playoff experience. This is the 7th year in a row they'll be in the playoffs. So in an environment like this, that's unusual for everybody, I like habits. I like consistency. I like maturity. I like chemistry. I like experience. I think those things will matter because there's a lot of curveballs coming at you every which way. And I think it's important to have people that are stable and level and consistent. I think those things play out. And a lot of times, as you know, Bobby, in playoff games, it could come down to one play or two plays. And I want guys that really understand the magnitude of the moment.
That would also be some final storyline if you see Kawhi, of course, win the finals MVP for the Raptors, and then the next year be back in the finals with the Clippers and facing his old team. I mean, the NBA would probably be pretty happy with that finish.
I think they'd be thrilled with it. And I'd be more than happy right now to give Kawhi the MVP in the NBA Finals on the losing team. I mean, the Raptors can beat them in 7. Feel free to give him the MVP of the series. I'm okay with the Raptors winning in 7 and Kawhi getting the MVP on the losing team. But I have a ton of respect for Kawhi. He's a great competitor. And it's interesting, you look at a guy like Kawhi Leonard. The thing I love about him is that you look at an environment like Orlando, it's all basketball. And that's what he's about. he's no frills. It's not the style and the sizzle. It's all about the substance. It's all about his actions. And to me, that's why a guy like that, and that's why a team like the Raptors, and there's a lot of really good teams as well along with that, and I don't discount anybody, but I think the teams that are all business, that are mature, that are there on a mission, I think they're the teams that will continue to advance, and obviously as long as you stay healthy.
Well, my friend, it's definitely a matter of navigating the new normal. I wish you the best of luck with the restart of the NBA, and I hope to see you in the finals again on television.
Bobby, that would be great, and I look forward to seeing you soon on the Rose Hill campus, and I look forward to coming back and speaking to your students. I had a great time. It was an honor and privilege to be there, and I look forward to doing that for you again.
Always great chatting with you. Best of luck, and again, same likewise. Hope to see you soon, Jack.
Thanks, Bobby. Go Rams.
Take care.
Welcome back. Our next guest is the executive producer of Here and Now. I've done it many times before, and I watch it. I'm a fan. Great. It's on ABC TV, and they do a lot. And they join us today to discuss her career advice for aspiring TV producers. If you want to know more, you got to keep it tuned in. You got to kick off your shoes and relax your feet. Just sit back like this and watch. We welcome Tracey Washington Bagley to the show. Welcome.
Thank you. Nice to be here. I'm usually behind the scenes, so
I know.
You guys had to pull my leg to get me in. Arm, leg, everything.
I see all the great work that you're doing behind the scenes. It comes out.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
So here we are behind the scenes in our homes. You see my record collection, part of it right there.
Yes.
And thank you for joining us. Tell us about your wonderful career in the world of TV, because you've been doing it for a little while.
Yeah, I started in news at News 12 Long Island, so I do have a great appreciation for cable television. So when News 12 launched, I was just a camera assistant, and I moved up to becoming a producer. I used to actually even run an ENG live truck. So really, in a sense, I always say to interns, pay your dues, because it doesn't hurt to know how to do a lot of different things,
And I see, when I'm there, I see a lot of interns following you around and looking up to you. And they do a great job, too. They're like little professional people there.
Thank you. So, having that experience, it helps as a producer to have appreciation for what people are doing in the field and in the control room. And so then I was lucky enough 4 years later to land my first job with ABC, and actually went up to the Philadelphia-owned station and worked as a producer there, producing specials, a teen magazine show. Fast forward to, actually that was the name of one of the shows, fast forward to about a decade later, and I started working for Channel 7 in New York with Roz Abrams, New York Nonstop, and then eventually left for a little while, went out to Houston and produced a ER trauma series, which was real life. And that really tested my skills, and also a live talk show. And then I ended up going back to Channel 7 and had the honor to work with Gil Noble, who is an icon, in the community, and hosted the longest running program that was dedicated to African Americans. So I felt like I had become a student at the Gil Noble University.
Yeah. How was it working with Gil Noble and Like It Is?
It was good because, I thought I knew my Black history. And whenever he'd ask me something and I didn't know, he'd say, have a seat. So then I'd get a lesson about,
you knew you were going to get a lesson when he told you to have a seat, right?
Yep. I'd get a lesson about the history that was about my people. And what's better than an experience where you're doing what you love and you're also getting a chance to learn about your ancestors, right? And the price that they paid to move us forward and to actually give us the opportunities that we sometimes take for granted on a regular basis.
And he was a soft-spoken person. How was he behind the scenes?
He was still soft-spoken. He didn't raise his voice. He was very serious about his show.
Oh, yeah.
And you could make suggestions, but he didn't always, he'd listen, but it wasn't always what he may end up doing. And that was fine. A lot of respect for him in the building. We had a lot of respect for him.
And then you carried it on.
And then
you went from there, and you continued the legacy.
Yeah, so Gil unfortunately got sick, and when he passed away, management at Channel 7 said, we want to continue this important program. We cannot keep the name like it is because Gil actually was smart enough to own the name and all of the footage. So he actually had a Like It Is, and the family still does, a Like It Is archive. So we were challenged with coming up with a different name, but still carrying on the legacy. And so Here and Now was born, and we auditioned several of our anchors and reporters at Channel 7 who had been doing the work, but now here was a new opportunity, and hence we have Sandra Bookman as our host.
Yeah, Sandra.
Yes, excellent.
Yeah, so you guys are doing some great things together. You're award-winning. Some of the awards that you guys have gotten or what?
Yeah, well, we got nominated for Emmy 3 times. We didn't win, but we got nominated. And we were nominated for our South Africa special, which was Journey to South Africa, Mandela's Centennial. Mm-hmm. And that was in 2018. We got to go there during the time when the country was celebrating his centennial. And we did an hour special overseas. It was amazing. So we did win an award for that, which was a tourism award. And we're very grateful for that opportunity.
Well, congratulations. And we continue to thank you for all the wonderful job, all the wonderful work that you guys are doing. You do a great job.
Thank you.
Now,
thank you.
How has this pandemic changed your producing? We know how I'm sitting here.
Yeah. We, I don't think we ever imagined that we could pull together an hour show from basically our homes. We do the interviews on Zoom like you guys. I write my scripts here at home on a company laptop, so I have access to all of our footage. I have associate producer Jordan McIntosh, who used to be my intern and is an awesome associate producer. And my editor is actually in her home editing. And Sandra does the interviews on Zoom. We record them, and then in post-editing, we add all the footage and the music, and voila, there you
go. All right. Sounds good. So what does it take to make a show entertaining and informative?
You still have to be very engaged. I know I have to definitely keep up with the news and see what's going on, what people care about, what they're interested in, what's meaningful to them. And at the same time, people also looking for an outlet. So, we did a whole special, The Race to Justice, about, all the protests and everything that's going on around the world. And at the same time, I tried to make sure that we also included segments about the stress of the pandemic. And so we've had several psychologists, therapists on. We just did a soulful yoga segment because people also come to us for news, but also for an outlet for entertainment.
Yeah. And thank you for having me. The last time I was on, we were talking about this book here.
That's right.
Black History and Beyond.
That's right.
We were talking about my foundation, to make the great foundation. Thank you so much. Got a lot of great feedback from that. Now, what advice would you give? A lot of people want to do what you do. What advice would you give to aspiring producers?
Well, first and foremost, I always say get your degree. People take you seriously. You have a degree in an area. They know that it's something you're really dedicated to. I made sure that I did, study broadcasting in college, Ohio University, shout out.
There you go.
And yeah, I always tell students, high school students that are considering this career, make sure you choose a college where you can get hands-on experience, because a lot of schools will tell you that they have, or they'll offer you a degree in broadcasting, but they don't have a facility for you to get experience. So they're hoping that you can get an internship to prepare you for a career. But the best school is a school where, there's a radio station or a TV station or some kind of production that's going on a regular basis. So it becomes a part of your college experience. So when you graduate, you're job ready. That's very important. Once you establish that, I think the best producers are those that are very inquisitive, storytellers, and really you have to care about people. You have to have a selfless type personality.
Like you.
I try.
Tell us about this wonderful special, the Race to Justice special. Tell us about that briefly.
So the Race to Justice really focused in on George Floyd's murder, and we wanted to give people, especially those that for whatever reason didn't realize that African American, Black and brown people were dealing with inequities and race discrimination on a regular basis. We give them somewhat of a history. So we had Dr. Khalil Mohammed from Harvard University talk about just the history of racism in this country and why it was bubbling over at this time. But at the same time, to take a look at how this moment was different. It's just not a moment, it's a movement, and what was different about this time.
It feels like it's different. It
yes,
feels like it's
definitely.
Different. Maybe something will come out of it, some positive information will come out of it.
And you can still access that special on our website, which is abc7ny.com/here and now. All of our shows are on our website. You can take a day and just binge on Here and Now.
Thank you for all that you do. Where can we get more information on what you're doing and see some of your specials and see what's coming up?
So again, it's abc7ny.com/here and now. And we also have a Facebook page, so follow us on Facebook. We're also on Instagram and Twitter.
There you go. It's the executive producer of Here and Now. Thank you for all the work that you do. Tracey Washington Bagley, executive producer, Here and Now, ABC, WABC TV. Thank you, and we love you. Stay safe, and God bless.
Love you too. God bless.
Okay. All right, we'll take a break. I've got more coming up next right here on Open. Thank you. I really appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in and checking it all out. I want to thank our viewers for checking it out too. Make sure you follow us on BronxNet for continued coverage. Thank you for letting us share in this space and time with you. Always remember this: what you are is God's gift to you, and what you make of yourself is your gift to God. So choose your choice and let your choice control the chooser. The Dr. Bob Lee. From all of us here at BronxNet, have a great and enjoyable day. Stay home, stay safe, stay blessed. We love you all. Peace.